So I'm out here in the shop today. It's Christmas Eve. You know, everybody thinks that you got your own business. You can just work 2 days a week and then spend the rest of the week doing whatever you want, running around and spending money, but that ain't how it works in the real world. The other day when I was working on the belly dump, there was a cold front coming through, and if you live in North America, you know exactly which one I'm talking about. So I decided to go around and check antifreeze and everything. Usually if I have an antifreeze leak or do anything with the radiators, I always make sure I fix the leak or whatever I had to do to it and make sure that it has the right amount of antifreeze in it when I do it. But as a general precaution, I always check everything. So I went around checking everything, and the old blue Dodge, Old Faithful, that is oil in the radiator. And I don't mean just a little bit. It's oil. There's probably a ½ inch in there, and it's all in the overflow too. So I'm sure it's got a hole in the oil cooler. So that's what I'm fixing to be working on. I'm gonna get the heater fired up. It's like 36 in here. Yesterday I come out and started the wood stove up, and it barely got maybe 45. I wasn't out here babysitting it, but I'm almost out of wood, so I'll probably just plug the space heater in and cheat a little bit. But I'm pretty sure these 5.9 and 6.7s, the oil cooler is down yonder. So all this has got to come off. I'm pretty sure I did a little bit of research, not much, but I'm pretty sure it's with the oil filter housing. Where it bolts up to the side of the block is where that cavity, where that oil cooler sits in there. I mean, it could be worse. I could have water in the oil. That'd be a lot worse, but I'd take the head off or whatever. So we'll probably, we're taking it easy today. It's probably 10 o'clock now. I'm not in no big hurry because I don't need this truck for a while. So I'll monkey around with it today and get it apart, and maybe try to order me some parts and then put it back together on my spare time. I really don't feel like working on it, but I'm going to need this truck probably next week. So, you know what I mean? No more excuses, get to work. Alright, so I'm about to get started on it. I got the antifreeze drainer right now. Got the heaters on. I'm probably just going to do a quick little time lapse of me stripping these parts off the top, because I'm just out here, you know, I'm in no hurry. I'm not going to try to make a huge video out of this. I'm going to crank the radio up, put it on time lapse, and if I find something tricky, it's got a bunch of exhaust leaks too. I might end up digging a little deeper than I want to, but I got all weekend to put it back together. I don't really need it until next week. I think the other projects I'm getting is going to involve the belly dump. I was actually wanting to try to finish the dump truck, the hood hinges, and what else was wrong with it? Something else I was going to fix. Hood hinges for sure. That's next on the list. But I had to get it out of here because I had to take that dozer to a job and then start hauling rock on that one job. So I mean, that's, you know, beauty of being your own boss. You either learn how to make enough money to pay somebody else to fix it, or you learn how to work on it yourself. You know, and if I take this to a shop, they might have it for 2 weeks. They're, you know, mechanic shops are pretty backed up. So we'll dive in here and start tearing it apart. So I was in the shop working on the Dodge, obviously, and I need a flashlight. Flashlight's in this Kenworth that's currently covered in salt grime, and it's melting because of that brine they put on the roads. So I thought I'd back it up, park it out in the sun, let it melt so I don't have to clean it off the slab later, because it looks like it ain't good on it. it won't hardly crank. The batteries are slow, so it's like you never can win. So I'll get this charged up, fired up, and get it out there to thaw out. So after I got done with that, which job did I do last? That erosion control. I got my insurance started about 2 weeks ago back with Amazon just to see what was on their load board around Christmas time, because that's when they pay the best. And their load board's a joke now. They don't pay nothing. $1.40. They only try to pay you one way. Like from here to Tulsa, they'll pay you. Starts out at $1.40, 50, 60 a mile. You know, it takes. You go down there, by the time you get hooked up, it's just not worth it. And you drive up there and drive back. You're deadheading, so you're a round trip. You're making like 70 cents a mile. They don't even pay for fuel. I don't know how them guys are surviving. Even if your truck got 10 miles a gallon, don't make any sense to me. But they paid Christmas time. They paid a little more. I got one load for $900 going to Tulsa on a one-way, which last year they started out at $700, $800, $900. I mean, all the time before Christmas, and then they paid way more than that during Christmas. And the only reason they paid almost $900 this go around was because the roads were terrible. There was up towards Kellyville and Sapulpa before you got into Tulsa. It was just, you couldn't see the highway on the turnpike, and there was crashes everywhere. I probably should have just stayed home, but you know, I just tried to make enough money to pay for the insurance this month and get my fuel money back, and I'm pretty much done with them. This morning the weather's nice. The same load, around town they want to pay you $200 for like 3 or 4 stops for 4 or 5 hours. You know, it's crazy. So anyways, enough of that. But that's why the truck's nasty. It is just completely covered in that solution, because I run back bobtail and it just slung it all over the truck. And it's melting, and it's not above freezing today. So, and I had it plugged in, but it's set for 2 days, because yesterday I went shopping and did last minute stuff and didn't work because there was nothing. Again, there was nothing on Amazon to do. I think they were trying to pay $700, and instead of cranking the price up to get it out, they just add another hour to it, and then they take the price down. And then when it got about 30 minutes out, they cranked the price back to $700. You know, and then on TV they tell you, oh, we're going up on your Amazon Prime because of trucking is costing so much more money. That's a lie. They ain't paying the semi drivers, I promise you that. So anyways, we'll give this a charge. We'll go back to work on the Dodge. So I'm gonna lay the alternator over here to the side. Hopefully I don't have to take it all the way out, because if I did, this air box is a real pain. Little trick on these hoses, take you a big pick. This just happens to be a John Deere. I found some merch. This is one of the big ones I could find. You'll stick it back behind here like that. Let's see, like that, and roll this around. Generally, them hoses just slide right off there after you do that. Like that. It don't always work like that easy, but sometimes it sure helps, especially when the hoses are really hard. I think I got some of that hose. I'm gonna replace both of these on it's the old EGR cooler. I might have to take the turbo pipe off. I'll probably climb under there and take the oil filter off of it. You know, I should be able to see it. This might not be that big a deal. I might be done in another 20-30 minutes as far as taking it apart, and I've got 30-40 minutes this far, so I'll pull that filter off, see how much of it I can see. So I might get lucky on this one. Lucky meaning I won't have to buy an oil cooler. I haven't took it all the way off yet. You see the oil coming out of there, and these threads are completely covered in oil, which tells me, and these bolts are real loose. So I'm hoping that those, you know, this truck's got 370,000 on it. I bought it brand new. And so I'm thinking these bolts just backed their way out, because a couple of them were really loose, and some of these ones at the bottom are a lot tighter, and it started leaking oil. So I'm hoping I don't have to buy an oil cooler. Oil cooler's like 500 bucks. So I'll get this apart, see how the valleys and what the gaskets look like, and I might get lucky and just have to buy a gasket. So that'd be like a Christmas for me. Alright, moment of truth. Pretty sure I got all the... Oh! Oh! Sweet. Sweet. Oh, we're not out of the woods yet. Not out of the woods yet. How do we get that out of there without... prying on it too bad? So I tapped it one time and it didn't put a little dent in it. So I was like, well, I better stop and look around. There looked like a pry point. Let's see if you can... I don't have the best setup here, but right here. Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to go get a different bar. Oh, there it is. Sweet, came right out. How about that? So there's the cavity. I'll clean this up, see what I can find. My bipod broke the other day, so I need to go buy one. Oh, China. That's what's wrong with it. Made in China. Not surprised. Guess I'll pressure test this, shoot some air in it, and plug the hole and see. Probably fill it full of water. And shoot some air through it. There's a chance. As loose as them bolts were, and they all full of oil, and a couple of them had antifreeze running out of them. But that's what was wrong to begin with. And at $500 for that cooler, it'd almost be worth the chance of having to take it apart again. So oil and oil. What kind of gasket is that? Oh yeah. It's like an MLS. That's what it is. It's not even stuck up here. And these bolts down this side right here were all loose. And so There's a void right here. Yeah, it's all full of oil too. I think it just needs gaskets. All these bolts was all loose down through here. So I'll clean this up and pressure test it and see. Might get lucky and just have to buy some gaskets. Well, of course, my blower's too small. I think I can get this valve stem stuff down in there though. Maybe. I mean, it ain't gonna take much pressure to blow it out, but I mean, it ain't taking much pressure to get oil. Well, I guess oil. Yeah, it's gonna fit in there. Oil pressure is 40 to 50 pounds, so it's enough to stop that side up. And I'll hold that down with pressure, and then I'll take the valve stem out of this, cram it down in there. No, I'll leave the valve stem in it and cram it down in there, and then just shoot a little air in it and see if it gets wet on the backside. All right, we're about to have liftoff here. So what I done is I cleaned it up real good with some brake cleaner to make sure it was absolutely dry, blowed it all out, because I'm gonna hold this one in with my hand and shoot a little air in here, and liquid obviously doesn't compress like air does, so it's just gonna take a little tiny purge to spike it to, I don't know, 60, 80 pounds easy. And that ought to be enough for that oil or the water to get a couple droplets or whatever, because there wasn't that much oil in the radiator. So 60 psi on oil in here would take a while for it to accumulate that much, but I'm hoping this water will come out a lot easier than oil. And you might want to wear safety glasses or whatever you want to do. Like I say, this probably isn't going to work because I can't hold them both at the same time. So we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Oh, it's pressuring it up because I can feel the other one trying to come out. Actually worked pretty good. I would have just left off of it for a minute. So that was over 120 psi for, I don't know, however long that lasted. And the good news is it blowed everything that way, so it shouldn't have anything underneath here. I mean, it looks dry. So I'll go ahead and blow it out and do it again. But I think it's just the gaskets. I'm gonna try it without air this time, see if I can hear it. It looks dry. I don't think it's the cooler. Now it becomes, is it worth $500 just to put it on there since I've already got it apart? That's the decision you gotta make. I seriously doubt that's got a leak in it. I can't believe the valve stems. It's got a little lip in there. They're actually staying in there. If I could get it to quit leaking, shoot air in it, that'd be cool. That'd be real cool. Stabbed a hole in it, I think. Let me go get a different valve stem. I think I broke this one. Yeah, let me go get another one. So there's actually a lip down in there, and if you take the screwdriver and push and twist it, like it gets below that lip, just like it's in a wheel. Enough to hold it, so we'll see. I'll put my eye out, something comes shooting out of there. Nope. Huh. That one side holds real good. What's going on this side? Ain't gonna hold pressure long enough. Not gonna work. That sucks. Well, I don't think it's a cooler. So I guess I'll go see how much the gaskets are. Debate on whether I want to tear it apart again if it starts leaking oil again. The 3 of them was really loose, so I really don't think it's the cooler. I don't see any erosion, you know, electrolysis or whatever going on with it, because sometimes that'll happen if you run nasty antifreeze in it, but I've always changed it. So I'll see if I can figure out a different way of testing it. All right, I took a break from that, letting that plate dry off. See if it'll start now. This thing started fine the other day. I didn't even have it plugged in. First day I worked for Amazon. So I got my mess outside cleaned up. I was thinking about this. If this is how it was on the truck. This was all wet. You can see it's been leaking for a while. You know, 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. But all these bolts had oil all in them, and some of these bottom ones had antifreeze in them. So if the cooler doesn't have a hole in it, the only way that oil can get in there, because the stand up right. You know, comes in, comes out, and this little cavity comes down around, and then comes back out, and then goes into the block. But the, because right here is where it was leaking, because all the gasket material is gone. All right, that's just a machining imperfection, I'm assuming, or it was run so loose that it sit there and vibrated, which I doubt. So anyways, the oil was coming out and hitting these bolt holes and coming out the side of this housing. That's why it's all oily. But in order for that oil to get back inside of there, it would have had to chase and go on the back side of this, come through the gasket that way and come around the side. The problem with that theory is antifreeze would also be trying to squirt out. As soon as you got home and you shut the truck off, the radiator's got 12 to 15 pounds of pressure on the water side, and so it would have been shooting out and either getting back contaminated in the oil or just running out on the ground, which it wasn't. So I think the cooler is bad, because the coolant only goes around this section of it, not down here at all. And I just don't think, with them bolts being loose, you know, under these circumstances, I don't think that's why the oil was getting in the cooler. I think, or the antifreeze. I think it was the cooler's got a hole in it. I just wish there was a better way I could test it to make sure. Like I say, this thing's like $500. I would almost buy the gaskets and try it, but I really don't want to take it back apart. if I'm wrong. Sometimes it's better off just to put it up, buy it, put it on there, and go for it. So I'm gonna clean everything up, and parts will be here in about an hour or so. I'll have to go get them. I may or may not put it back together tonight. I might take the rest of the day off. We'll see. And just a FYI, on these housings, these are like cast aluminum. Don't take a little 3M wheel and buzz all that off. These things are so small. You cut you a little tiny divot in there and this whole thing will be ruined. You'd have to go get it resurfaced. So I'm just going to take I mean, this stuff is coming off my thumbnail. So I'm just going to take probably a wire brush or a razor maybe and just back drag it. Don't push it forward because it'll cut it, but just back drag it, and I bet it comes right off. And then I'll hose it down with some brake cleaner. It's coming right off. But I see all the time people just run them DAs, you know, wire deals around it. And that's a no-no. If it does have something funky on it, run a flat file or something across it. So this is gonna be probably fun. Oh yeah, it's a real thin layer of something. Oh, it is a metal gasket. It's so thin. It's like there ain't no way that's a RTV, because it would have been sticking out everywhere. All right, get a little screwdriver. Makes more sense now. Oh yeah, perfect. Well, that's like 10. Well, you pull on that very hard, cut the hell out of you. It's sharp. Cool. So I'll just take my little scraper, clean this up. This will probably take about 10 minutes. I'll save you the pain. Skip to the next part. I don't think that's normal. So after a 2-hour education on space heaters, I kind of got it going, but it's still not putting out enough PSI on the pump. That end of that should be going orange. So I got everything cleaned up. I'm just gonna put that on there, get all my gaskets lined up, and very delicately set it back in here and start bolting it up. Should take, I don't know, an hour or so, and dump some fluid in it. I'm gonna put a bunch of Dawn dish soap in it and run it and flush it all out before I put the antifreeze back in it. So back together, here we go. So I got it all buttoned up. I actually forgot. I hooked the grid heater up to the alternator, and then when I was getting ready to hook the batteries up, I realized what I'd done and switched that. So I'm just gonna use some air. Here's oil, quite a bit of oil in the overflow. I'm gonna blow what I can out into this bucket, and then I'm just gonna put 3 gallons of water, 2 gallons of water, whatever it is, and a couple pumps of Dawn dish soap in there and go drive it. And I'll probably do that 2 or 3 times until I get really clean water coming out of it. And then I'll put the antifreeze back in it and call it good. Keep an eye on it, make sure it's not pushing any more oil out. There could be another problem somewhere, but I doubt it. I would have liked to put gaskets on it, but I just don't have the time to, you know, you buy the gaskets, put them on there, and then a week later you got it back in the shop taking it apart. I got too much other stuff I need to be working on, little pet projects. Like this woodpecker back here pecking on the side of my shop. Probably need to go take care of him. So anyways, until the next project, we'll probably be working on the dump truck next, unless something else breaks.